Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video we're going to learn about unit testing, which is a way of making sure that your code is behaving correctly. So typically speaking, so far we've been using kind of a informal process, which let's briefly review. So we're going to use a reverse lookup function. And the idea with this reverse lookup function is we're going to have a dictionary where we've got a bunch of animals and then there's the keywords, and the values are the number of letters in each of the keywords. So for example, platypus has 8 letters. And a reverse lookup function is going to, if you type in a number, it's going to tell you if there's a key with that number. So after we do it, if we type in 3, it should return cat and dog. And if you type in 8, it should return platypus. For some reason, I wrote and platypus there. That is not correct. Bad Mike. All right, but there's our dictionary. So now let's write the reverse lookup function. So we write def reverse lookup. And so we're going to have a D, the dictionary, and also a value. So 2 inputs, D, value, value. And now we're going to say this is going to be a function which finds all keys with a given, find all keys in dictionary D, let's say, with a specified value. So first thing we should do is we say that the type of D is not equal to a dict. Let's say raise type error. First argument must be a dict. And then else, let's try to do this in a one-liner. So we're going to return a list comprehension. We're going to return a list of keys. And so it's going to be a key for key in d.keys, which is effectively the list of the keys. But we don't want to always return it, so we say if d of key is double equal to value. Alrighty, so now let's test out our reverse lookup function. We'll test it out first on 3. And it says cat, dog, and cow. And that's correct, because all of cat, dog, and cow, they all got 3 letters. Alrighty, now let's test it out on 4. This is going to give us a duck. And when we test it out on 8, we're going to get a nice little platypus. All right, now we need to also check. So far, we've checked all of the things that do appear, but we should also check it on things which don't appear. So let's see what happens when we try it on 10. Okay, we get an empty list. And the last thing we need to check is to check that we get a type error if we try to test it out on something that's not a dictionary. So let's just try typing it out on reverse lookup. We'll have 3 be our value, and our not dictionary will be a list. So we could go with hello. This is the best dictionary. We're going to try to lie to Python and tell them it's a dictionary, but it's a list, so it's going to give me a type error. So everything is working correctly, and we have successfully tested out our function. And this works well enough for simple functions like this, but in general, we might want to find a way to automate this process because real functions might be a lot more complicated. So to do this, we're going to import the unit test module, import unit test, double T. And now we're going to have to do most of the actual work, which is we are going to write a unit tester. In unit test, we do this using object-oriented programming. So we write a class test reverse lookup. And we're going to use as an argument to this class, we're going to use the unit test.testCase function. That's why we had to import the unit test module, because we want to be able to use this. Okay. So first, we need to test all of the different types of behavior in their own function. So first we're going to say def test type error. The only argument is going to be self. And so let's test it out on a list. And so our list will be cat, dog, and giraffe. And we can say with self.assert raises type error reverse lookup D3. So what this says is that if we tried calling reverse lookup on D3, where D is this list and 3 is our value, then we need to make sure that it asserts a type error. Now we also need to assert that it gets correct values. So we're going to write dest test standard lookup. Also going to act on self. And so now we're going to let D be the same dictionary that we used up above. So I'm just going to copy and paste it because it's kind of a pain to type and you never want to misspell platypus. Platypuses get very upset when you misspell platypus. Fix the indenting, make it look all aesthetic. Python cares very deeply about your indenting, so we should fix the indenting. There we go. And we should say, so result, we're going to check to make sure it gets the correct number of items. So we're going to say result is equal to the length of the reverse lookup, D and 3. And then we're going to say self.assert equal result in 3. So this is going to cause an error if the result is anything other than 3, because 3 is supposed to be the length of the result when we get the reverse lookup, when we call it on D and 3. And we also need to test no matches. So to do that, we do test no matches. Also acting on self, we can use the same dictionary. And you know, we can actually do almost exactly the same code. To test no matches, there's really only a couple of things we need to change. So we could test it out on 6 rather than 3 because 6 doesn't appear in our lookup. And we need to check that the result is equal to 0. So this is our reverse lookup unit tester class. It's a bit confusing. Feel free to stop the video, pause, look, behold in all of its glory, or maybe just continue because it's going to make a little bit more sense after we use it. So to use this, we say tester equals test reverse lookup. So now we've instantiated a tester, and now we write tester dot test type error. And the important thing to note is that if you pass, nothing happens. And so lo and behold, the code did run, but nothing happened because we passed the test. And we should also test out the other one. So we'll do tester.test no matches. Pass the test again. Wow, we're really good at this. And we should do test standard lookup. Alrighty. So in order to give you guys an example of what happens when you fail the test, let's try it again with a different value. So here I've now screwed this up. I've made it so to claim that there's no 4s in the dictionary. So this is now going to fail. And we'll again need to create a new tester. And let's test no matches. And we're going to get an assert error. Actually, we got a name error. But now that I've spelled tester correctly, we will get an assertion error. And it says that 1 is not the same thing as 0 because it found 1 matched for the number 4. It found a duck. And we wanted to assert that 1 was equal to 0, but 1's not equal to 0, so we get the error. All right. I don't like looking at error messages, so I'm going to change this back now. And now we pass the tests. So this is the process, and this setup works great. But the thing is that it's kind of a pain in the butt. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to write this in a .py file. So conveniently, I've already written this .py file for you. It's a very good .py file. And we basically have all of the same code as above, but it's in the .py file. And what we see is that we're only going to run this if the name is equal to main. That's at the bottom. So now we can go ahead and run this. And it ran 3 tests. They all passed, so it said OK. And so we're very happy. And now we can import this module using the import modules that we learned last time. And now we can instantiate another tester called my tester is unit test.example.test reverse lookup. And then we can use the functions from the tester. So that's our lesson on unit testing. I will see you guys again next time.